instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. All right, well, golfers, welcome to another episode of the Flagstick Podcast, presented this week by a new sponsor, the Canadian Pro Shop Online, with amazing prices on all the latest brand name golf equipment, all in one convenient location online. It's never been easier to upgrade your game. Whether it's drivers, irons, putters, or whatever your golf game needs, the Canadian Pro Shop Online has the best gear to help you play your best golf. Shop online today at CanadianProShopOnline.com.
Nice.
Welcome. I'm Jeff Potter. This guy's Scott McLeod.
Long time no see.
Yeah, it has been a little bit.
Hours.
Oh, before we get going here, let's just remember that you need to follow us on all the social media networks: Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We do encourage you to subscribe to that YouTube channel. Like us and click the notification bell and make sure that you never miss a single episode, because we do appreciate that. All right.
And just remember, Google Podcasts is going away next year.
Yes.
Going to be replaced by YouTube Music, I guess. So anyway, so subscribe to our YouTube channel and you'll get us there.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like a one-click option.
Let's
subscribe to the YouTube channel. Listen, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, I know. We're getting there.
We're getting close. It's hard. Like, we don't like it. It'd be great to have 10 or 15 or 20,000 subscribers. That'd be awesome.
Hey, but you got to start someplace.
I don't know. Yeah, we do need to start someplace, and we have. But we're getting there. We're close. I know we're very close. It's kind of like a target number we've been trying to get to, and we're working.
We've got the shows on there, and then we're just trying to work on more content to come there. Hopefully, captured a lot of stuff yesterday.
Oh, yes, yesterday
we'll get to, which will work into some finished content at some point, and then working on some other content capture later this week too. So lots going on.
Yes, indeed. Well, you know what? With all that lots going on,
yes,
I think maybe we should just get right into the front nine.
Sounds good.
And get this party started, if you will. The front nine obviously is presented by Metcalfe Golf Club, natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Golf season's winding down a bit, but there's still a ton of golf left to play. Get your memberships for next year. Very important. Buy the game packs. You can still get the game packs and get ready to hit the first tee for some cool fall golf. Visit metcalfegolf.com to shop. Now, front nine. I guess let's get some newsy stuff out of the way there. Sure. You know, there's not a lot in there because there are some other things that we want to talk about, but I guess the first thing would be congratulations to Tyler Rouse of Dunrobin of the Carleton Ravens on winning the Waterloo Laurier Invitational.
Shot 7 under for 36 holes.
That's great.
Nice.
That is great. And also to Christy Godkin of Orleans, who recently won the McMaster Invitational. Yeah,
that was her first OUA win. Helped her team have some success there. She plays at Laurier, so good to see. So.
Now, I also understand, too, that I know this isn't sort of on our list of things to mention, but we'll mention it anyway. Yesterday, when we happened to be at the Highlands Golf Club, which we'll get into talking about shortly, the City High School Championships were going on at the same time. And turns out that the Ibbett brothers, who happen to be part of the St. Peter's High School, won the City High School Golf Championships by, I believe it was by 13 shots.
Yeah, I didn't see the final total on that, but so good on them. We were talked to the organizers there yesterday, so we're expecting to get all the full results coming in. And again, it's great. Actually, I also talked to another one of the coaches, a listener to the show, Thomas Westfall, and talked to him about their the program that he helps run, which is one of the last sort of sport-specific golf programs left in the National Capital Region. And we're hoping to catch up with him soon and talk a little bit about that. Very unique program. And even that high school golf is, obviously crosses over to junior golf, doesn't really get a lot of attention because it's sort of a, kind of a 2 tournament sort of thing. And often in most cases for a lot of the high schools in all the areas in Eastern Ontario, until they move on to OFSA as far as Ontario. But certainly, if people have results and some stories and things out of that, just reach out. It's more content, and we're happy to provide some coverage for that as well.
There you go. All right. Well, the little bit of news that we wanted to bring to you, obviously tons more news on flagstick.com if you want to get over there anyway. But we have some stuff we want to talk about this week on the podcast. So some stuff we want to talk about, some bragging.
Oh, geez.
Do you want to talk about the Ryder Cup first? Do you want to talk about the other thing?
How about we make quick message a mention of the Bissiger Memorial Cup that happened on Monday.
Yes. Sorry.
At Rivermead, the PGA of Ottawa seniors beat out the team from the PGA of Quebec by 10-8. That's the 19th edition of that championship. So congratulations to all the team members there. It's Cup season, man.
It is.
We talked about it last week.
Solheim Cup, O'Brien Cup, Gordon Cup.
Almost back to normal for sleep wise, but we'll get there. So at least all these cups are not happening.
Well, maybe I might get back to normal for sleep, but then you're bugging out again. So
yeah, I'm on a plane tomorrow. So yeah,
I am not on a plane tomorrow. Yeah, I'm right here, grounded and ready to go. Probably in a rink, but not on a plane.
Well, that's okay. I'll take one for the team.
Okay, what do you want to talk about first?
You know what? We may as well let's clear out what we were involved in, and then we can run into the Ryder Cup. How's
okay.
that?
Well, what we're involved in is right behind me here. If you're watching on YouTube, on the video version of the podcast,
a large metallic chalice.
Yeah, a very large, very heavy metallic chalice that I believe my team's name is now going to be on for the 8th time, and the second time in a row. We were defending champions, and we are now defending champions.
Yeah, so this is the for people that don't know and can't read the trophy from here, this is the Ping
I can bring it closer if you like.
No, it's good. Sure? You can just leave it back there. Is it about to fall off?
No, it's not falling. It's sturdy and in great shape, polished, shiny. It looks wonderful.
Sat in my office nicely for a little bit there during COVID, but that was about it. That was about the only way I could win it.
That's the only way you could have it for 2 years in a row.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the PGA Challenge Cup, which is basically a Ryder Cup style event, end of the year event in the PGA Ottawa. Basically a reward for those who play the Flagstick.com PGA of Ottawa tour. They make the teams from the assistant pros and the head pro teams. As we mentioned before on the show, obviously we have seniors and women golfers as well, which we'll get to as far as watching some of that yesterday. But yes, I have to default to Jeff and the fact that his team, the head professional team, successfully defended the title, and it was closer than last year by far. I mean, last year was a drubbing of 16-8, but this year actually came down to kind of to the end.
It did. It was that was the exciting part about it. I mean, and I've said that about even with the Solheim Cup when we talked about that in the Ryder Cup. Although in this one, if you asked me who I wanted to win, I mean, obviously I wanted my HPs to win, but we also wanted everything to matter right as close to the end as possible. And it can't always work out that the last match is the deciding match. And in this case, it wasn't the last match that was deciding match, but it was way back in the group where it ended up coming down to a halved hole and some putts, and that's what makes it exciting. But 13-11. Close. As if anybody's been over to flagstick.com and read already the story that's there, we jumped out really quick. The HPs jumped out really quick in the morning, in the early morning the first 9 hole.
We were playing the part of the US.
We took 5 out of 6 points, got that big lead. And then in the second 9, which is the Chapman style, alternate shot style that we play, the assistant pros, came back strong. It was 3.5, 2.5 in the second 9 hole part of the matches, and that kind of drew everything together again. But at the end of it, it came down to that opening 9 that ended up being the big difference. Is that big lead gave us enough that we almost split. It was almost a split of the singles, 6.5, 5.5. And that was that early morning
Yeah, I
was the
mean,
difference, right?
our team ended up losing those or winning those last 2 sessions, but,
Yes.
it was that loss at the first, and, everybody talks about it when they're out there, how important every single putt, every single hole. Players are there to have a good time. It was a very social event, which is great for us because it's a chance to see, a lot of the members of PGA of Ottawa. They're busy during the year as well. Um, I get to see them maybe at a few more, events being a PGA member and so forth, but nice to connect with these people. And it wasn't just about the golf. I was able to, chat about business, chat about how the year was,
Yeah.
plans for next year, all that sort of thing. But there's some outstanding play. I mean, we'll have some further video that's evidence
Yeah.
to kind of what's happening. You see a little bit on our social, but you'll see that man, there's some fine players. We had a couple of players had to drop out due to injury, sickness, and so forth. Had a couple of substitutions in there, but going out and watching, and I would say, and you can mention kind of who you like to see and who you wanted to see and what you were impressed by. But Dan McNeely obviously continues to be a fabulous
Hmm.
player. I posted a shot of his tee shot, and Roger Beal, fantastic player that he was against, former World Cup player, zone champion, so forth. But he had his hands full
Oh,
with
big
Dan
time.
in the singles. But probably watching the match with Sarah Landry and Tara
Yeah.
McInroy,
Yeah.
that watching those two play, they
Yeah.
opened eyes to players they were playing with, other players that watched the two play. I've seen them both play a lot over the years. Well, Sarah not as much. Obviously, I saw her play last year. I've seen Tara play since she was in junior golf. But just to see them, step out of the shop and hit the ball as solidly as they do,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I
That
don't
was
know
some
what.
impressive golf. It was, I mean, coming down to the singles match with the two of them was exciting to watch too. But the morning session where they were teamed up, and Tara was teamed up with James Spernick,
Yeah,
and Sarah was
Sarah was
teamed up with Dennis
Denny.
Gerard.
Yeah,
And that match, that was a great match because
yeah.
it was like, I mean, I think at one point Tara turned and said, "I don't know what we're supposed to do. We're
Yeah, they were
playing
two
great. We're
under.
hitting the ball
Yeah,
well.
they
We're
were.
two under, and we're
Yeah,
losing. Like we
yeah,
can't gain any ground here." And they're playing
yeah,
like it was just two groups, two partners playing extremely well,
yeah.
hitting good shots, making putts, and it's just not enough.
No.
And that was exciting. And then watching their singles match too was exciting as well. Tara hung in. Like Sarah was playing really, really good golf,
Yeah,
and she was hitting the ball pure off the tee, especially. And Tara was grinding, and she was like some of the stuff, punching it out of trees, chipping it on, making the par, and then having a hole. Like it was that was exciting, some exciting golf. It was exciting all around, but that sort of
it was
match kind
exciting,
of
Jeff.
it was. Well, you get me. See, I was wound up yesterday, and I kind of came down a little bit. Now I'm wound back up again.
You know what? Here's the fun part. I mean, we get to go out there as captains, and you're there to kind of encourage your team and check in on scores, and they want updates and so forth. That's part of it, but part of it as well is us sneaking over to a few holes to watch certain shots and certain.
Mhm.
We want to see how players play
We're
certain
stealth.
plays, and
We're
yeah,
stealth. They're
yeah,
hiding
yeah,
in the trees, hiding behind the
exactly.
bushes, watching it.
Yeah, sneak over here, sneak over there, and just see how the players make out. And yeah, it was good, great event. Thanks to Andre and Ping Canada for obviously continuing to support the event and doing what they do. Our executive director for the PGA, Caroline Baxter, I'm sure she was wishing us well from Italy, but normally there or whatever. But thanks to everybody to organizing it, and Sean Badfield, as a representative of the board, obviously was, gracious and thanking us for the support as well. And, it's an event we're happy to be involved in and enjoy being part of every year.
I hated the fact that I missed it last year, so I
Yes.
sequestered
Yeah.
myself for a week leading into it to make sure
Yeah.
that I was healthy and that everyone around, I wasn't exposed to anybody else around me. So I made
No.
sure I was there this year. But
Yeah,
no, it was a lot of fun.
for sure.
I look forward to it every year, and I'm
Yep.
going to look forward to bringing the trophy back to wherever we happen to be hosted next
Yep.
year,
Yep.
and giving it a go for a three-peat.
So we're down 8-5.
8-5, yeah.
8-5 all time now. So yeah, we've got some work to do, that's for sure. So
You do indeed have a
I
little bit
think
of work to do.
I think we're gonna have to send out a memo to the team. We're gonna have a task force.
Yeah,
Two
I think I
days,
would, because that's,
two a days. Start to
that's two in
schedule
a row,
that.
and you don't want to have, you
Yeah,
don't want to get to a stretch of too many
blow
like
it up,
that. And
blow it up.
I think I would look at a new way
Captain.
of doing this. And no, I think the captaining is okay. I mean, maybe he needs to do a little bit better job on his pairings, but
Fair.
I'm not sure. Scott, I'm going to apologize. I have to adjust the lighting in here because there's a bit of a glare coming
Off
of
the
off the
trophy.
one side there. So
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
because there's
Just
something large and shiny
just keep going.
behind me.
Are
Oh
you sure that's just not your head?
no, it's definitely not my head.
Well, speaking of blowing it up and overreactions,
Oh my
there's our
gosh,
transition.
that's a good transition.
Obviously lost a lot of sleep this last weekend, like the rest of the world, watching the Ryder Cup, which is always fun. We had lots of takes going into it, unanalysis, as I labeled it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't want to beat this thing to death, but
Yes, we do.
let's just talk about
Let's beat it to death.
some are basic takeaways from the weekend from the Ryder Cup at Marco Simoni in Italy, where the Europeans succeeded. Thoughts to wrap it up for that.
Well, I mean, we talked about this a little bit as we were driving around in the cart during the Ping Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
And maybe I underthink these things a little bit, but there's two schools of thought. Some would believe that the players on the American side should have gone over to Europe and played in the BMW Championship under those
Italian
conditions, or the Italian Open, and played, a little bit more leading up to it, as opposed to a good chunk of them took 4 or 5 weeks off leading into the Ryder Cup to rest up. I'm not so sure that you want to take that much time off and rest up and then think you can go to the driving range and hit some balls and play a few rounds of golf and be sharp.
I don't think they were sitting around at home barbecuing and putting their fingers in.
No, but it wasn't. It's
pool,
competition, right? I mean, it's
I know what you're saying.
energy that comes from the grind. I mean, I'll give you, Kate. My perfect example to me is Rory McIlroy playing. It was at the BMW, right?
Right. Yeah.
And he was grinding.
Yeah.
A tournament 2 weeks before. 2 weeks.
Might have been 3.
Might have been before the Ryder Cup. He's grinding to make the cut, then grinding to get into contention, and gets into contention on Sunday. I would think that is the mindset that you want to have going into a big event like the Ryder Cup. Now, I'm not saying you have to play 3 weeks, 4 tournament rounds of golf leading into it. You need a bit of a break. I'm not even saying that you want to play the week before. That you might want to, take the week off, maybe go over to Italy and get acclimatized and settled. I mean, I realize jet lag probably didn't have anything to do with it. There were some American players feeling under the weather. For example, Ricky Fowler was not well, apparently. But at the end of the day, to me, when it comes to these things, I hear all this talk about, we joke about think tanks and task forces and all this crap.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, even if it's a team game, even if you've got 2 players playing in a best ball, where all 4 players in the group are playing their own ball, they're putting, it's 2 people playing. You have to play well. Who you're partnered with maybe makes a little bit of a difference here and there, but at the end of the day, it's golf. You're professional golfers. Right. You're going out and playing this golf course, and you want to score as low as possible, as if it was a singles match.
Hit quality shots.
Yeah, and when it comes right down to it, the American team did not hit quality shots on a consistent basis in those early matches. Now, they did much better in the singles.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, whether it's because they just figured it out or whether they were trying too hard to do things as teammates in the individual stuff, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah. I don't think anybody does.
But I don't think that there's any think tanks or task forces or committees that you can set up that's going to improve. the way it is. I also don't think that it's an Americans are selfish and out for themselves thing, and the room was divided and all this stuff. There could be some truth to that. But do you stop trying because of that?
No, I don't think so. And I think, unfortunately, I think a lot of the cases when they talk about, task forces and things like that, that's all a lot of that's for show.
Yeah.
It's to make it look like they're doing something, because otherwise they'll be criticized for, well, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing to get better?
Well, they blew out the Europeans 2 years ago, did they not?
Well, yeah, exactly.
So what was the recipe? I mean, you got to go look at the recipe. What did we do 2 years ago versus what did we do here? You played better.
Yeah.
You played better than the Europeans, and the Europeans maybe didn't have their A game for that week. Was it because they were on home soil as opposed to in Italy?
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't prepare.
Maybe
the reason they don't play well as well when they go overseas on foreign soil to play is because they don't prepare properly, get over there ahead of time and acclimatize themselves to everything over there to make it feel like they're actually over there for a while. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. It never hurt them before.
I don't think there's a magic bullet in this situation. I don't think there's one thing that you can pin it down to. There's always a combination. It's no different. I mean, watch every single week on the PGA Tour. Players will miss cuts one week. The next week they could win the tournament. I mean, that's just the way it goes. I mean, you can wake up and you feel like crap. I mean, and that point could make a difference if that player. I mean, there's so many things. It's a myriad that, trying to think that you have the solution, I think is just a fool's errand of trying to go and think you have that. Here's the thing: win, lose, retain. Those are three options that can happen out of this. Grades of that certainly could happen. I mean, obviously, if it's a massive blowout, but did you see Europe all of a sudden panicking after Whistling Straits and going, oh boy, we got to blow things up and we have to do this and we have to I didn't hear any talk about that at all.
No.
And I mean, the fact that letting something like tweets, whether they're factual, erroneous, or otherwise, by a journalist, and the hat thing come into play, like how fragile are things if you're dealing with that and you're not just focused on the game? That shouldn't even play a part. That should have, every single player should have acted like it doesn't happen. I mean, I can tell you that some of the best athletes I know in the world, they turn off their social media. They make sure other people around them don't do stuff. I have one player that I know who says, I have other people to worry about that stuff for me. I don't have to think about that when it comes to certain things. Take care of what you have to. But again, there's no magic bullet.
No, really. I will say this from a strategic standpoint.
Yeah.
Statistically, if you were to look at both sides, and this is where statistics might play a factor, in particular in the course setup. Statistically, the players on the American team compared to the players on the European team, statistically, were not the greatest drivers of the golf ball.
Yeah,
their driving accuracy was very low in comparison to the European players. So to set the course up with ridiculous rough, and we're talking like major champion, U.S. Open major championship kind of crazy friggin' rough. To set it up, you're potentially penalizing your own team, but you're playing to their strengths, which was driving accuracy. You're playing to the Americans' weakness, which is driving accuracy. Now, in the 4-ball and the foursomes, that would definitely play a factor because you have two guys in the fairway with two shots at the green with two potential birdie putts to make one. And on the American side, you potentially have one guy who's in his pocket and one guy in the fairway. So you've only got one shot at every hole for a birdie. So, and I think that did play a major factor on day one, was that because when I watched, the Americans were spending an awful lot of time in the rough.
Yeah.
So strategically, on statistics, that was a good move by Luke Donald and the European team to set the course up that way. Like I said, again, if the Europeans had a bad driving week and missed a lot of fairways, it could have went against them, which is why I think when you look at the singles matches, that it started to balance itself out because now you don't have a teammate to bail you out.
Yeah.
if you hit it in the rough, you're in trouble. The guy you're playing with is in the fairway. He's got the advantage. So I think that's where the singles match is balanced out. But by the time they got to the singles matches,
Yeah,
it was such an insurmountable lead that it would have taken a miracle beyond Brookline
yeah,
to
turn it
fix it.
around. Yeah, I mean the Europeans, especially the top Europeans, there was a lot of strokes gained, especially tee to green. They were fantastic as far as that, gaining a lot of strokes there.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, John Rahm didn't putt that great. Statistically, he lost strokes gained during the tournament, but other players made a lot of putts. And I mean, that's one thing that I saw happening a fair bit, was just a lot of putts. And again, that comes down to the skill, just hitting the shots in the situation. I mean, players that stepped up, Justin Rose obviously stepped up.
Oh,
Tommy
big time.
Fleetwood was putting well. Hovland, incredible for them.
Mm-hmm.
Homa for the US. I mean, Homa was stellar. Did it look like some of the other guys really wanted to be there and grind it out? Not sure on Shoffley. He looked a little flat. But Morikawa was struggling off the tee, as you said.
Thomas and Spieth were not the dynamic duo that they can be, and
but
maybe that's because Thomas was not, where he should have been going into it.
I mean,
but he wasn't terrible on Sunday.
No, he certainly showed some spark and stuff. But you know what? They got themselves in a hole early. Didn't come out of the gates as fast as they needed to. I think they're maybe just kind of sitting back a little bit and let's see how this goes, as opposed to, and again, I go back to the underdog. Even though the European team is a great team, and maybe they have I heard someone mention it yesterday, going out with the mentality that you've got nothing to lose, as opposed to I've got everything to lose, right? I've got everything to gain. Mm-hmm. That's how Europe sort of, it seems that their attitude is that, what, we got everything to gain. We're not expected, right? Whereas the US is like, oh, you know what, if we don't win this, we're the bad guys and we're going to get eaten alive and whatever, we're expected to win it. Well, they shouldn't have that. They need to go into that hungry mentality kind of right from the start, that, hey, you know what, we got nothing to lose. Let's just go all out, not play scared, not try to steer balls into the fairways. Let's just go for it and see how it plays out.
Well, I mean, obviously easier said than done for the Americans.
And
we'll
find out what's going to happen in Bethpage. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, well, it's driving accuracy is a problem at Marco Simone. I'm not too sure that Bethpage Black, they might want to widen the fairways for the Americans.
They get to set it up. So
maybe cut all the rough down to wall fairway and make it an iron game event. But and here's the thing. I know we got to get out for break soon here, but
sure.
The whole issue with Joe DeCalva and the whole hat thing. Yeah. It doesn't need to. Rory was right. It should never happen. It was to me, it was above. It was crossed the line. I think Joe realized that after the fact. I think he probably realized it probably as he was going on. He probably realized he's just a very emotional guy. It happened. It shouldn't have happened. And it ends up being what you talk about. And it shouldn't be. I'm not saying that, I'm not buying into the whole, he's just a caddy. He shouldn't even be forefront. I mean, the caddies are as much a part of that event as the players. They should be in behind. They shouldn't be in the spotlight. They should be just doing their job and helping their player. And when it comes to the emotional side, they're the ones that are supposed to keep their emotions in check for their player. And not let that get away from them. And he let it get away from him.
You shouldn't be interfering with play.
Oh gosh,
no possible way. That's right. You can be excited. Just do that on the side. And I'm sure he had, regrets as far as that was concerned. But you're right. It shouldn't. In the end, it's unfortunate that is what people jump onto. And I hated the fact that all of a sudden, people were talking about the night before, all they were talking about was Cantley and the hat and all this rumor from the tweet and the cab. And I'm like, really, why don't we talk about the golf and the fact that the US need to come back here? This is what's important. And people were jumping onto the salacious crap that wasn't really necessary. And
but that's the media.
but it's not just the media. That's the public going. That's the
It is the public, but the media could have just shut it down. They didn't need to continue. I mean, it's all I heard on the Golf Channel after the matches was all I heard for, and then when you turn on Sports Center and you watch the Ryder Cup highlights, the lead was the whole
true.
thing. So if you don't lead with it, if you don't talk about it and you push it aside and talk about the golf, then it diffuses it pretty quickly. But you just keep fueling the fire, just keep pouring lighter fluid on it. Eventually, runs out of something to burn.
Click, 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 click.
Anyway,
click.
All right.
Cool.
But it was good. As always, great Ryder Cup. Exciting golf, despite the final standings or whatever. It was exciting to watch. I'm glad that I got no sleep for 3 days, and it was great to watch the Solheim Cup the week before. It was outstanding to be part of the Ping Challenge Cup this week, and happy to have the shiny cup behind me there for another year. And we move on from there. We move on. And as we move on, we got to take a break.
Let's do that.
When we come back, we're going to talk fall golf, which we wanted to do last episode, but we had so many other things going on. But this episode, we're going to be talking fall golf. So stay with us. You're listening to the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod. We will be right back. The Canadian Pro Shop Online has all the best gear for Canadian golfers. Amazing prices on all the top brands in one place. The latest drivers, irons, putters, and more. The Canadian Pro Shop Online is the best gear to help you play your best golf. Shop online today at CanadianProShopOnline.com. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Flagstick podcast. I am Jeff Botter. This guy here is Scott McLeod. We are going to talk a little fall golf here on the back nine of the Flagstick podcast, presented by Castleview Golf Club. Only a short 25-minute drive from Ottawa. This 18-hole layout is renowned for its superb conditions and unsurpassed service, making it a must-play in the National Capital Region. 5, 10, and 20 game packs are available. Visit castleview.com for more information. All right, Scotty Mac, let's get talking a little fall golf.
Now that you've hit the record button.
Yeah, well, I think I hit a record. Yeah. Okay. We're good.
I think so. And now I should say I have, we've never done that. No. But I have been on a podcast, the previous podcast that I used to do. There was definitely a technical glitch one time where a whole segment was not recorded.
Technical glitch, or somebody's finger didn't click?
Was not me. And it's the worst, because you go back and you try.
Are you throwing somebody under the bus right now?
No, not at all.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. It's just a case of when you're trying to do an interview with somebody, and I'll say it's happened to me in other segments of recording stuff in the past or whatever. You can't replicate the first take. You can't replicate that first discussion and then get the same energy. And then when you try to go back and re-record it, it just doesn't work. So anyways.
Oh, I remember doing that. I used to do all the recording for recording Kevin's tips.
Oh yeah.
For the previous podcast that we used to do, and for the tips for the magazine. And I can remember on a couple of occasions the audio didn't work properly, and there was one time where I was recording it with my phone, and my phone overheated in the middle of the he had to go get his phone or Jake's phone or something. Man, it was a gong show. I mean, you talk about embarrassing.
Well, that's the downfall people have to realize. When I'm this is hot for me right now, because obviously I'm packing right now, and I'm always trying to take as much equipment and redundancy equipment with me from a photography standpoint, audio standpoint, so forth. People always wonder, oh, why don't you just have one camera? Well, guess what?
Because this happens.
Yeah. Why do you need extra cards? Why do you need extra tripods? Why do you need? Because guess what? Things happen, and they will always happen.
Yep.
And you can't avoid it. And unfortunately, you got to be prepared for it. And hey, that's life in the media business, right?
It is indeed.
You got it.
All right. Well, let's talk some fall golf, Mr.
Yes,
McLeod. I love this time of year.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the first thing right away. Do you like this time of year?
I do like this time of year a lot. And there's a number of reasons for that, but the big thing for me this time of year is the type of golf that I tend to play in the fall when I play is just I don't give a crap how I play or what's going on. I'm just out here enjoying the last
Just
little bits of
appreciation
golf.
for what you're getting to
Yeah.
do before it's gone,
It's
right?
October. I mean, to look outside right now, it's October, and like even the Pain Challenge Cup this week. I mean,
Hmm.
gorgeous weather in
Yeah,
October. I mean, I know it's
incredible.
early October, but still, and you never know when that's gonna when it's gonna go away.
Yeah,
So you're just like, oh, I
that's
just got to
that's the
get
crapshoot.
another 9 in, another 4 holes in, another 18 in. You know, it's gorgeous. And now, if you are fortunate enough, in the fall to be able to play a golf course, that has a lot of trees,
Foliage,
a
yeah,
lot of foliage,
yeah,
it can be absolutely the most breathtaking
yeah, 100%.
views to play golf, with all the changing the colors
Yeah,
before the leaves all drop, because once
yeah,
the
yeah,
leaves
yeah. Once,
drop, then
yeah,
it looks like a barren wasteland,
yeah,
and all the leaves are all over the ground, and you're playing the leaf
yeah.
rule. But
And
before they drop,
yeah, that's when it really
oh
and I think
yeah.
the really cool part is the aspect of the multitude of colors. So what
Hmm.
ends up happening is that, during the year, everything gets green, the trees are green, everything seems to be one shade.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the fall, maybe it's the long grass that's dormant and it gets a little, brown, and then you've got greens, you
Hmm.
contrast, you get 42 million different colors in the trees. And I think that's what makes it sort of pop. It's that contrast that,
Yep.
between each other. And you get that sort of richness of the colors. And especially when you get a sunny day when the sun's coming off that and so forth. And yeah, I experienced that on Sunday. I mean, I probably would have played 36 if we hadn't had punch greens at our golf course, and I didn't really want to go, putting over that again. But
Yeah.
it just, what a walk. And as you said, I mean, that's really what it's about. It's about going out there and first off, it's realizing, man, the summer went fast.
Yeah.
Second, it's realizing that how many more days am I going to have of these? And you're right. It's the appreciation and knowing that, what, it doesn't really matter if I don't hit the shot as well as I do, or I miss that putt. I'm still here, and I'm getting to experience this. And I think there's sort of just something that's a little bit more natural about that, where you're just, it's a gratitude of being, you're still playing
Oh
and
yeah, and it's
playing those
scramble
big.
season too.
Yes, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean
yeah,
that
for
kind of
sure.
has already started a little bit. September, as you, it's like okay, there's cup season,
Yeah, yeah.
which is generally sort of that mid to late September is cup season, where all of the team events are happening through the month of September. But once cup season is sort of wound down, then you start to see all of the fall scrambles start
Mm,
to crop up.
yeah. A lot of
And
courses host them because
yeah,
obviously, if they're down in play or the weather's poor, people will come out to play in a
all
scramble.
right,
It's getting to those formats where it's less about your individual. Yeah, exactly that too. It's less about your individual play. You still have to play,
yeah,
individually. You have to do well, but it's sort of going, oh, okay, we have different formats. I mean, you and I, we've talked about it before. Go a lot of, we do a lot of fall road trips.
yeah,
Weather terrible. I mean,
oh
we
yeah.
played through a lot of post and pre-hurricane weather before on a lot of those
Pre and
trips,
post.
and
What about
during.
during?
Yeah, and a lot of those times, because it's fall, we'll just say, you know what, let's just play a match. Like, let's not worry about whether you shoot 72 or
Yeah,
85. Double beats triple, you won the hole. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you become a little bit more accepting of it. I think that makes it more interesting. I know for myself, I still, although I walk most of the time anyways, I still try to make sure I walk in the fall. I might have a few less clubs in my bag. I might just say, oh, let's be a little bit more creative. Let's play off a forward tee, or let's have half the set, or
yeah.
hey,
Grab
I'll
the little
bring it.
quiver
I'll,
bag, throw a
yeah,
few clubs in
exactly.
it,
Yeah,
and
I'll
go
bring
out
out
and
my old
play.
clubs. I'll bring out my hickory. It's just something different, because again, you're not grinding away like you might be at the start of the year, where you're going, man, I want to shoot my lowest score.
Yeah, I want to get my cap down. I want to,
Yeah, yeah,
I want to get lower my index, because I want to be in. I want to get into the A division or
yeah,
whatever the case may be. The other thing that is cool is to change up the format of the game. Even further to that. Whether you play match play or play your normal a group of 4 guys that go out, or 4 women that go out and play together. Play a scramble.
hmm,
Takes the pressure off a lot. Play a 1 club challenge or a two
yeah,
club challenge. Grab a putter and and one other club, and you just and 3 balls in your
See how
pocket
you score.
and
Yeah.
go. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't, you put the scorecard away and just go out and have some fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I love to do. I mean, I generally put the scorecard away anyway when I play, but the exception to the rule, not
Well, I
the
think more
norm.
people need to do that. I think they over punish themselves a little bit too
Yeah.
much. And I mean, I've seen some great stuff over the years, and you know, I love seeing people go, you know what, I'm a casual golfer. You know, I've seen golfers, you know, they mark the scorecard with emojis. You know, you know, how do I feel about
It's a
that
good
hole?
way to
Or
do it.
like just
I
because
like
again, it
that.
doesn't matter. It's just sort of the experience, right? And people will probably enjoy the game more. There's nothing worse, and you know, I'm not going to throw a friend under the bus, but I mean, you know, I'll generally sometimes play at a one Golf Ontario event early in the year, and I'll play with this other media guy, and I always tell him nonstop, like, dude, why? It's the second round of the year. It's, you know, not great weather. You know the event at Wooden
Hmm.
Sticks, and he'll be like, grind. What'd you shoot and what'd you score? And he's got a pencil and he's worried about, and I'll be like, dude, like seriously, like you're
Chill.
judging yourself. You haven't hit a golf ball in 5 months, and you're going to judge your enjoyment of the day based on the score, whether you think or you're going to or not. You will.
Mhm.
You
Yep.
will make the judgment of how you enjoy the day. Just sit back and enjoy it. You get the time to play with friends and whatever. I know you want to work on your game, but
Sure.
you can hit a
Now's not
couple
the
different
time.
shots. But the thing is, you're not going to hit every shot perfectly. So, you know, just enjoy it. And chances are, let someone else score. And I bet you actually score better because you're just enjoying yourself. So, you know, fall is important that way. Now, that said, you know, leading into it, you know, if you do want to play better in the fall, there's
Yeah.
definitely some things you should start to look at from an adjustment wise because it is different weather conditions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
The equipment side of things. I mean, you kind of gets overlooked a little bit that you think that, you know, and the spring's the same way. So
yeah,
whether you
spring,
look
yeah,
at
for
spring
sure.
and fall
Yeah,
is kind of
yeah.
similar in how that equipment, can be set up. But, you know, Scott, I mean, obviously clothing is a big thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, I see a lot of people, maybe they want to extend the season, but maybe they don't invest in what they're going to wear. You know,
Hmm.
they basically, you'll see them go from straight wearing a golf shirt to basically a parka. You know what I mean? They don't
Yeah.
really have an in between. But the thing is, now we have to realize that there's a lot of performance equipment that's available as far as clothing is concerned. You know, layer up. You know, the thing is, the temperatures can go up and down. We know just, you know, earlier this
Hmm.
week in the Ping Challenge Cup, you know, it starts cool in the morning, but it heats up by the
And,
afternoon.
and what have we always said, Scott? Anytime we've talked to anybody about this or even playing ourselves, it is a lot easier to cool down
Oh yeah.
than it is to get warm. Once you're cold,
Yeah, forget it. You're not getting
you
warm.
can
Yeah.
add all the layers of clothing on after the
Yeah.
fact that you want. Once
Yeah.
you're cold and it's in your body,
Yeah.
it's going to take a long time for your body to warm
Yeah.
back up. You know, anybody that's
Yeah.
ever been outside and been really, really cold and comes inside and sits by the fire and you realize how long it takes your body to heat back up again.
Yeah.
If you start by layering up and you start with that base layer,
Yeah.
you know, that really thin base layer, and then you have
Kind of a
maybe
mid
a
layer.
vest on,
Sure. Yeah.
or you have a golf shirt on, and then you have a vest on, and then you have a quarter zip pullover on top of that, and then
Yeah.
maybe a wind jacket or a rain jacket on
Yeah.
top of
Get a
that, and you
hat
start
on
clicking. It's
there.
like, oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm starting to get a little warm. Well, you
Yeah.
peel off the
Peel
jacket,
off a layer. Yeah.
and then you just keep peeling and peeling and peeling until you're just bare chested walking around the golf course looking like a dummy.
Well, I don't know if it'll get that
Can't
far,
do
but hey,
anything
you
about
never
it if
know.
it turns 42
Yeah.
degrees out when you thought it was only going to be 18.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, we've got the advantage now, with, you know, sports clothing material that's, you know, come over to the golf side of it. So, you know, you can get stuff that's, as you mentioned, thin, not bulky. It's got some flexibility to it, the flexibility you need to play golf. And as you said, just starting with a base layer is really good. You can add another layer that's kind of cooler, kind of ventilated, add a little warmer layer on the outside of that. You can alternate back and forth, as opposed to, you know, and again, I'm not against like a hoodie. But if somebody goes from just like a t-shirt and then puts on a big heavy hoodie, there's kind of
Yeah.
nowhere's in between. You're either going to be hot
No.
or you're cold. So, you know, get those layers in there. You know, have some standard. I mean, you can buy a base layer piece that you can use for over and over again,
Yep.
for over the years. So, you know, you may only use it a couple of times a year or whatever, but you know, put it to the one side of your closet and away you go. I find a lot of people as well, you know, rain pants or like thermo series pants. There's a couple of different companies that have kind of lined pants now that you can wear. You can put them over top of your regular pants or whatever. They're a good option as well to keep your lower body warm.
Yep.
Which I find if you keep your lower body warm, you'll stay warmer overall. Get out of the low socks, get into something a little bit higher. They're just really small things, but they kind of make a difference. And again, there's tons of options out there, and we're going to have some more on this actually as we head into the fall here. I'm working on some content with some different fall pieces and stuff like that. Maybe you don't get them now, maybe you put them on your shopping list for the holiday season, and you suggest to people that maybe want to gift you some golf stuff that here's something that I can use for kind of a long time. Hey, it may be as much as it could be a lined pair of golf pants that go over top of your other ones that you only have out a few times a year.
Yeah.
So, again, it can be something that's just really universal. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be wild, crazy colors. You can keep it really simple so that it's timeless a little bit more. And just that layering kind of makes a big difference. And you have lots of options there.
And toque. Get a toque.
And a toque. Yeah,
toque.
Get a toque.
Remember,
on there.
Heat escapes through your head.
Yeah, you get a lot of just people just don't warm that part of their bodies. So you'll see a lot of it for again, the fall scrambles. You see a lot of players that are out making use of that, and it's great. And then we get down to maybe the lower parts of our body. Well,
you're going to change the
talking
shoes,
about our shoes.
Flip the shoes around a little bit. It does get really muddy, soft, wet, slippery. Traction's super important, especially on uneven lie. It's not such a big, even on a flat lie, you can slip out pretty easily. And if you slip out that back foot during your golf swing, sometimes the ball can take off in some awfully crazy directions. So you might want to look at switching out to maybe a different type of shoe for the fall months.
A lot of people will have they'll have shoes that are more, we'll call them a summer shoe. They don't quite have the same level of waterproofing. They're more for like there's nice hot sunny days. Again, spikeless. People will think, oh yeah, these are great, they're super comfy. Yeah, well, you know what, as soon as the ground goes from firm and dry to soft and wet, your level of traction and level of friction with the ground changes a lot. So you need to kind of regain that a bit. So
now, as stylish as it might be,
I know what
wearing the Canvas All Stars when it's wet out, it's just not going to cut it. I'm sorry, it's not going to cut it. Leave the Vans,
don't name names, but
leave the Vans at home. Don't put those on. You're still going to look cool.
If you care about performance.
Yeah. If you just want to look good and you don't care if you're sliding around like you're playing golf on ice, in running shoes, then go for it. But if you care at all about your game and scoring, deal with the part that's touching the ground the most.
That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about performance. So it's people that are wanting to score well. It's people that all of a sudden they're playing and they're like, man, why is my score escalating in the fall? Obviously it's going to be windier and stuff like that, but conditions change by a fair bit. So that has an impact on your performance. And unfortunately, you're going to have to adjust with lots of other things that you're doing. So, but shoes is a big one. Yes. Style is great. And we might've witnessed that this week. We saw somebody with the high top Converse on, which, hey, looking good, but
you look great. You look great.
How's that scoring working out? So
wasn't so bad yesterday, but I got the sneeby-jeebies going. Oh, sorry, no cough button. Not to tell you, if you're watching it on video and you can see me sneezing anyway, so it is what it is.
I'll edit that out for you.
All right, so some of the equipment, there's not a whole lot that the average person can do with their equipment that they have been using all summer long, because you're not necessarily going to make a whole lot of adjustments to your equipment, but there are some things you can change.
Yeah, for sure. Not everybody's got the luxury of switching out and having backup clubs and so forth, but if they do, and they do have an option, again, this might be a case of you keep something for the fall or the spring. Maybe you keep a wedge that has a little bit more bounce. It's just going to basically work through the turf a little bit better and not going to get cut or stuck in the kind of the wet ground and so forth. A lot of people here, if they get groove or wedges or whatever that are not even new, and
Yep.
you get wet turf that the golf ball is interacting with, that all of a sudden, you get a lot of moisture on the face. You're going to get a lot of flyers. You're going to get high balls that are flying high, so forth. So, got to pay attention to that for sure. And again, it may be a case of, hey, you know what? I've worked my way through the year. I'm looking to do a new wedges for next year. Hey, why don't I get them now?
Yep.
And that'll make it a little bit better. You got to remember too, there's manufacturers now, multiple ones, that are using different types of finishes on the faces of their wedges, basically to help keep the moisture down for sure. So to make sure that you're basically getting as much friction as possible in the different situation. As I said, not everybody's going to have the option to all of a sudden, deal with more bounce, to deal with maybe softer turf or so forth. But if you do have the option, and if you don't, consider maybe just using more of your wedges that are designed with more bounce on them, but maybe
Yeah.
have less loft. So if you play a 50, a 48, or a 54 and a 58, maybe hit a few more of those wedge shots as with your 54,
Yes,
where you have a
exactly.
shallower angle of attack, you have a little bit more bounce on it. So, you're not sitting there going, yes, I'm going to spend another $200 on another lob wedge, but just go to a different type shot in order to hit the shot that you need to do.
Now we're talking about this time of the year, and we're talking about things being a little softer. We're also talking about the distance that you're going to hit the ball, particularly
True.
off the tee or
Yeah.
with some of your lofted fairway woods. Now, people need to understand. Those that do understand, and you don't really need to listen to this. So you can mute us if you want, or you can just listen for the fun of it. But generally speaking, when you carry the ball a long way during the summer, your ball will fly high, it'll come down out of the air softer, and it won't get very little roll, but it will carry further. When you hit the ball lower, the ball will generally come out of the air sooner, and then when it hits the ground and gets a little bit more roll. Well, if you play that sort of philosophy in the fall or in the early spring, the low shot that you're hitting, because it's coming out of the air sooner, is also going to stop
Yeah.
at the same distance that the person that's hitting the ball higher and carrying it
Yeah.
further. And they might actually get more distance because they carry it 250, and in the summer they'll carry it 250 and roll it out to 255. Whereas in the summer you're carrying it 230 and rolling it to 260. In the fall, if you're carrying it 230, you're hitting it 230.
Yeah.
And the person that's carrying it 250 is hitting it 250. Now, cold temperatures make a difference in the carry distance, but it's still relative. You're going to hit it shorter. If you're a low ball hitter, you're not getting any roll. You're going to hit it shorter. So you have these adjustable clubs now.
Yes, right.
It might change your spin rates. Yes, it might alter some things, but you're going to hit it higher, which means you're going to get more carry and ultimately more distance.
Yeah, so you consider a little bit more loft in those adjustable clubs that you've got. Put yourself in a situation as well of making choices. Maybe you're a player that alternates between a hybrid and a long iron, and sometimes you have one in the bag over the other. This is the time to get that hybrid in the bag. So yeah, I mean, when we look to that fall, as we talked about with the golf shoes, you're probably not going to have as much balance. You might slip a little bit or so forth. So maybe you need a little extra club because you're not going to be as accurate as far as your striking is concerned. And as you mentioned, you can get windy conditions, so forth. You're probably going to have to hit some different shots than you do in the summertime. And don't be upset with all of a sudden, your driving distance in October, like I'm hitting it nowhere. Well, guess what? There's a lot of factors that go into that. So either you have to make as many adjustments as you can with the clubs or the equipment that you're using, or you have to accept that those changes are happening and you have to adjust how you play to go with that. So, and if you're not familiar as far as, what your actual carry yardage is, and how things like loft can change it, how temperature can change it, so forth, you know what, maybe you need to, jump on a launch monitor and see. I mean, I know for an example with, TrackMan and many other launch monitors, we can jump on, we can normalize it and set the temperature. and basically see what the difference can be in the difference in the temperature. But you can also see optimization as far as trajectory and so forth. So yeah, you've got the advantage now with adjustable golf clubs, be it hybrids, fairway woods, or drivers, for an example, to play around with that a little bit. So don't be shy about getting that wrench out that you've got hidden in your bag, or you've got
everybody's got 10 of those darn things.
Yeah, in a drawer someplace, and make a little bit of adjustments to help you deal with the differing conditions, if the conditions have differed a fair bit at your golf course at this time of year.
And now here's one last adjustment that you can make to help you with your distance off the tee during the wet season, fall season, or whatever. Simple solution, and all it involves is your feet. Walk to the next tee deck.
Okay.
Walk to the next tee deck up.
Oh yeah. No, I didn't know what next. I was thinking about the next hole.
If you're usually playing the back deck, walk to the next deck up, and that'll automatically adjust your distance without having to do anything to your equipment. If you don't want to change anything, just
real simple. Yeah,
and honestly, I've done it numerous times myself this time of year, and I do it in season too. Is I have no ego when it comes to this game.
None.
On. I could care less. I will walk up and play off of the most forward deck if I feel like it, just for the heck of it.
Sure.
I used to do it when my boys were a lot younger, and they didn't hit it very far back then. And I would walk up and play off the purple tee that's in the middle of the fairway, and I just adjust by hitting an iron. Or a hybrid off the tee or whatever.
Just enjoy it.
Now I like to walk up there so I can beat them.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. But
you're
right. That is a simple adjustment. I mean, if the weather is inclement and the wind is up there or whatever, it digs right into that fall philosophy of just enjoying it more and trying different formats. Go up and play some forward tees or try some different tees.
Absolutely.
Be a little bit more social. And as you're right, get away from those, maybe those back tees, or if you're hitting it 20 yards less, well, guess what? Easy solution.
Absolutely. I've noticed that golf bags these days have a ton of pockets, ton more room for storage. It's very easy just to take your ego and put it in one of those pockets before you play golf.
Good idea.
I
like that.
And you can take it out when you're done. Or you can just leave it in there if you have a really big ego.
All good.
I don't know.
All good.
Fall good? Is that what you said?
Yeah, fall good. Exactly.
Fall good.
Looking forward to some more fall golf the rest of the year. Hopefully we get a game in.
Yeah. We're trying. We're trying. It's just we're working on it. It was at least we got in a cart together for a day.
Yeah, which was
now we'll try to maybe put the clubs on the back of the cart the next time, and
let's try that.
I'm going to get
some golf in, so I'm going to get to play a little bit.
You are off to Nova Scotia.
Cabot, Cape Breton.
You're playing Cabot. You're playing the Cliffs. Are you playing Cliffs and Links?
Yeah, playing.
And you're playing the Nest too.
And the Nest. So yeah, our good friends at Adidas, obviously a great partner for us with the Flagstick Open.
Yeah.
They've extended an invitation. Going to go out and see some new product as well.
Beautiful.
Test out some new rain gear, warm weather gear. Although it's going to be nice weather again. Looking forward to seeing some of the team there. Going to do some interviews, capture a bunch of content. There's a bunch of other people that are there as well, some influencers and so forth. Going to try to get some video, social media stuff and things with them. So pay attention to our socials as well for that, and certainly we'll follow up here on the podcast and talk a little bit more about that.
Perfect. All right. As we get out of here, I do want to remind you that we have the free Flagstick Digest newsletter that you can subscribe to totally free at flagstick.com. News, information, more direct to your inbox. And right now, if you sign up, you subscribe for free, you have a chance to win an autograph Xander Schauffele hat.
Hat.
It's a real signature. It's not a fake. It is the real deal. And you have a chance to win that. And all you have to do is get over to flagstick.com and sign up. And don't worry, if you're already signed up for the newsletter, you're eligible as well. So we're not kicking you to the curb because we love you.
Yes, 100%.
So with that, I say, I bid you adieu. You can say goodbye to the Ping Challenge Cup, Scott, as you look at it for one more time. As 12 months, the next 12 months, it will be right where it is. Oh, gosh. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to our sponsors, Metcalf Golf Club, Castleview Golf Club, and our presenting sponsor this week, Canadian Pro Shop Online. With amazing prices on all the latest brand name golf equipment, all in one convenient location online. It's never been easier to upgrade your game, whether it's drivers, irons, putters, or whatever your golf game needs. The Canadian Pro Shop Online has the best gear to help you play your best golf. Shop online today at thecanadianproshoponline.com. I do hope you've been enjoying what you're hearing and listening to. Be sure to follow us across all the social media networks, Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, and subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Do not miss a single episode of us on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us, click the notification bell. Get over to flagstick.com, of course, for more amazing golf content delivered to you every single day, and sign up for that newsletter, win the hat. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. Until next week, I am Jeff Botter.
And I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.